Hey guys, Bro here. So, Frontiers release, and everyone was fingers crossed hoping it would be great. So, everyone played it, and it seems like Sega finally made a good game. And they succeeded. Well, for the most part. It's not a perfect game, but hey, it's definitely like a step up from Forces, and I felt like it was just as fun as the great Sonic games, if not even funner. Anyways, Frontiers builds off the back of Forces to improve this very flawed design. You know, that game had linear paths, terribly written story, and really, really lame levels. Anyways, review-wise, everyone seems to really enjoy Frontiers, including me. However, there are people who don't like the game, and that's totally fine. If you don't like a game, you can freely say it. Well, unless if you're this guy, who thinks if a game doesn't have RTX for the most beefy setups, it's trash. And that's not my wording, it's his. This guy only amassed 100 subscribers, and this is his first review video. Don't get me wrong, it's great to try new things. Heck, this reviewing thing is actually one of my things I'm actually trying out. However, just don't take your opinions as fact and try to get everyone to believe you, even what you're saying isn't the best takes. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. His review is laughably bad. Not as bad as Switchforce, who tried to say it will fail before release, but Switchforce was a really big YouTuber, unlike the guy I'm gonna debunk today. You know what they say, pick on somebody your own size. Anyways, before we start, however, I must say that I do not support harassment of any kind. Please don't hate him on anything, if you do manage to find him. I won't be referencing his name at all, because he's still a really small YouTuber, and he does have a chance to succeed. He just can't be making videos like these and expecting everyone to believe him. And that's just not, like, my speculation. On his YouTube comments, people have been saying that, like, you can't just say this thing just because you suck at it, and then he tries to, like, convince them that he's right. Now, I will also use an over-exaggerated tones of voice throughout the video, so if I was genuinely angry over this, I need to touch grass and stop YouTube. With that out of the way, let's get on with it, starting with his very first claims.
The game starts up with a cutscene that looks like it was rendered in Source Filmmaker. Oh, that looks awful.
See, we're starting strong with this one. This guy complains about graphics every chance he gets. This would be an issue if there were rendering problems, like VSync not working, the screen tears. There's none of that in this cutscene. But no, there isn't anything wrong with this scene technically. And this brings us to the word of the day, nitpicking. You see, nitpicking is finding a minor issue with something that doesn't impact the game as a whole. My nitpick, for example, is with Generations. And that classic Sonic, or Santiago for the younger kids, is light blue in that game, instead of dark blue like in the Genesis. Now, does it really impact the game as a whole if he's light blue or not? No, it's just a visual change. It doesn't change how he plays in the game. It's not like when you switch to, blue Sonic, you suddenly, gotta go fast, boost mode or anything, or, And, it seems like this reviewer didn't exactly catch that memo, as he nitpicks about lighting and rendering that he perceives as bad of his review in the cutscene, which is stupid. Because you can't just say you think something looks bad and that's why it's awful. That's just bias in more ways than one. And he does show a lot of signs of being biased in this whole review, so keep that in mind.
Next thing we know, we fall out of the sky into a dystopian Green Hill Zone, paired with music that does not correlate to Green Hill Zone at all.
That's because it isn't Green Hill. It's cyberspace. Emulating Green Hill. As cool as it would be to have music to fit Green Hill, again, this is literally just another nitpick. Because the music itself isn't terrible. In fact, it just gets me pumped up as I want to finish the level as fast as I can while getting all the collectibles as I can. However, that's just me.
This becomes a running mechanic. One thing you'll immediately notice is that Sonic is very, very slow when not boosting. I feel like Sega looked at the backlash to Sonic 4 after all this time and took the message of speed is a reward, not handed out like candy, way too much to heart.
Yes, Sonic is very slow in the cyberspace levels. And that does bother me when I'm playing level layouts lifted from Generations or Unleashed. However, there is a reason for this, even if it's minorly stupid. Cyberspace isn't the focus of the game. Open world is. And having Sonic go as fast as Unleashed or Generations counterparts could have players overshooting a lot of sections they were trying to go onto. I did play as overpowered Sonic one time after I got done with the game and started a new save file, and I could barely control Sonic, even on the maximum settings. So, just having those ludicrous speeds is just not fitting for an open world game where you're going to explore and find collectibles in. And if that's not a good reason, then speed is also shared with the combat, which is the secondary focus of the game. It is simply easier to make turns going at these low speeds, and to make sure you don't really accidentally leave any boss arenas. The point may seem flawed, but there's a reason boost stages from the past games were linear hallways. Turning at high speeds is just very hard.
If you aren't boosting or hitting a speed booster that are placed every other second, you will go insanely slow. After entering what looks like Gallum turned into a portal, Sonic wakes up in graphics worse than Gary's mod.
What are you on? No, please tell me this is a joke. Right?
Oh. These cutscenes are awful.
Okay, so a camera panning out as Sonic lays unconscious, with rain in the background, with mystery music going on in the background, building on what this mysterious island is apparently awful. I'd like to see you try to make these cutscenes with the same caliber and quality they made with this. And if he's talking about the cutscene in general, not just the opening scene, then I'm sorry, you're just wrong. It could have been a lot worse. Like Sonic making inopportune jokes about the situation, shouting stuff like, I got 2 words for you, diet and exercise. Like, am I supposed to laugh at that? Or not?
It's worth noting that this game gives you tutorials for literally everything. Jumping, attacking, and literally even using the camera gives you a tutorial.
Yeah, tutorials kind of do that. They teach you how to play the game, which in this game doesn't really take that long to complete. Besides, most of the controls were changed drastically from forces, so it's kind of necessary for some of these controls. Boost being on R2, home attack being on square, that sort of thing. And besides, just in a rare case, a new gamer just picked up the game, baby tutorials can help them. Like, it's really better to put in these baby tutorials everyone knows how to do than to not, because there's the off chance that someone just genuinely doesn't know how the game works. Like, you gotta put that into perspective.
We get to meet our first boss, a Guardian. The Guardians will put up a bit of a fight depending on the Guardian, as I will show later, but this one is just a case of spam until you win.
It's spam until you win, because you haven't gotten any upgrades in the skill tree. This boss teaches the player to use the new and innovative homing attack, where if you homing attack an enemy and continue hitting the homing attack button repeatedly, it'll cause Sonic to punch the enemy a couple times and spin dash into them before rebounding off of them. It's easy because it needs to teach the player how the game works and what the rules are. That's why you literally never come over to this area again unless if you willingly do it, because there's no collectibles over here and it's just the tutorial grounds.
Now you might be wondering, what are these thrones for? Well, this throne is actually a portal, which then teleports us to the second dystopian world, being Sky Sanctuary, yet again with terrible music that does not fit at all.
Need I say it again? The music itself isn't terrible. Priorities, am I right? Look at you, people who think fruit physics and Halo Infinite is the main priority of the game.
It's worth noting at this point, like I stated, that this game looks terrible. Although it's running at maximum graphics, it looks like a bad version of Unleashed.
No, it literally doesn't. Yes, Unleashed does look better in the lighting department, but the lighting here looks good enough for the game as it is, because it's going for a realistic environment, not a cartoonified Earth. Besides, I'm glad they don't have a maximum graphics here, because I have a GeForce 1050 Ti, and this game's recommendation is 1060. I'm barely pushing it, and I'm really glad that they didn't, because most people can't afford big gaming rings these days. And with so many developers trying to push for maximum graphics all the time, it's so hard to find games you can run properly. Like, I can't play Halo Infinite and stream at the same time just because my PC is underpowered and I don't have the money to afford new parts.
Objects will clearly pop in and out of view. You can see grass loading in. The lighting system is pitiful, and on top of all of that, the game is capped at 60 FPS.
Okay, this is gonna be the literally only compliment I will give this monkey, but pop-in is a real issue. You can't be running around the island and have rocks just appear right in front of you, like the game was just calculating when the rock is gonna appear right in front of you, and then boom, you slam into it, and then you lose all your flow, and then it pops back in like a second later, as if it knew. While it is a graphical issue, it's actually one that matters. Unlike, just it looking bad. As you can't really react to props in the world well when you literally can't see them until it's too late.
And to complement those horrible graphics, we get an insanely hard boss. Welcome to Ashura, my least favorite part of this entire game.
Okay, pardon me while I laugh relentlessly at you, but you're calling Ashura an insanely hard boss? Hello, the end is on the line and have like the word of you. Also, he says it's his least favorite part of the entire game. Entire meaning all of the game. Remember this for later. Anyways, let's see what is so hard about Ashura.
This mini-boss's entire gimmick is that you run up to the top and spam their little horn things while their ray shields or whatever try to kill you. Running up walls isn't hard, all you gotta do is just climb onto the wall and boost. The issue is trying to get up to the part where you can climb up the walls. You will fall off a lot, especially in the third stage. Any damage from the shields is destined to throw you all the way down to the bottom, and you can't climb up their legs, no. In order to get up to the boss, you have to wait for them to throw down one of their arms, and climb up them while avoiding the red shields, which will throw you off the arm. All this while they're shooting more shields at the bottom if you dare happen to fall off, which might throw you off the island entirely.
I'm genuinely laughing my ass off here. Okay, so he claims the hard part is climbing up and attacking the robot. Here's a term overused in this guy's comic section. Skill issue. Okay, here, let me load up a save on Frontiers and do a run with this boss with no skills and only attack.
And even if you do get back up to the top, congratulations, you've now found the second part of this boss's worst part. These little energy balls that will hunt you down and will try to kill you at any means. And because you are constantly being hit by the ray shields, and the ray shields having horrible collision, and the little balls coming after you, you are destined to die again and again to this boss. Even if you do get back up to the top, congratulations, you've now found the second part of this boss, worst part.
What do you do about the negative guy that's trying to bring you down? While you're over there watching me and talking about me, I'm working hard. I'm taking things to the next level. You keep gossiping and I'll keep working. You keep talking smack and I'll keep working.
And because you are constantly being hit by the ray shields, and the ray shields having horrible collision, and the little balls coming after you, are destined to die again and again to this boss.
And where I'm at, you realize that you have nothing left to talk smack about. You will lose, I will win.
You gonna get up, you gonna get dressed, you gonna get out, and you gonna do what you've been called to do. You gonna be what you called to be. You gonna have, and you gonna prove to everybody that tried to break you, everybody that tried to stop you, everybody that tried to kill your dream, you gonna prove all of them wrong.
Skill issue. Man, this man obviously needed those tutorials from earlier. He can't even beat an easy boss.
But eventually you will beat it and finally get another gear. What is the portal this time? It seems to be a Pegaso's version of Speed Highway. I wouldn't know, because this looks nothing like Speed Highway, nor does it sound anything like Speed Highway.
Again with the music. Look, it is not Speed Highway. It is cyberspace. It doesn't have to resemble Speed Highway at all. It is cyberspace.
In the daylight, this game actually starts looking pretty alright. Doesn't look great, but it's certainly better than whatever mess this was. This niceness goes away immediately once you climb up somewhere high to see everything and realize it still looks terrible. Once you collect enough keys, you will be able to unlock the ability to collect a Chaos Emerald. These are easily the best looking items in the entire game, and the difference in quality becomes so much jarring when it jumps back to gameplay.
Oh my god, shut up about the graphics!
After this comes basic problem solving, like hit all the tiles.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to solve a stupidly hard puzzle along with an enigma and another riddle with that? It's simple to keep the flow of the game like this. Because if you have to, if you want to 100% the game, you have to solve insanely hard puzzles that probably take 5 minutes to figure out on your first try. And the tile puzzles are simple, because if they were hard enigmas, it'll take ages to figure it out, and it'll be annoying and tedious. Last time I checked, Sonic is a speed guy, not a smarts guy. This issue can only take place if on your, first playthrough, because after your second or third, you might remember the puzzle thing. But still, it's simple to keep the flow of the speed.
After this, Sonic decides he needs more Chaos Emeralds to take down Sage. Like a typical Sonic game, this reveals the real genre of Sonic Frontiers. It's a big, boring collectathon with Sonic as its mascot.
But, big, boring collectathon? I mean, you have a point there, but you're still wrong. The whole gimmick of the game isn't collecting things. It's running around, doing stunts, and searching for pathways to take for collectibles, which leads to more collectibles. The whole fun of the game is trying to find island mysteries, yes, that's what they're called on Map Legend, and taking mini obstacle courses. And calling it collectathon is stupid, because it's not a collectathon if if it takes forever to collect everything like Unleashed. Everything leads to everything, right? You exit a mini obstacle course and it leads you right to another one. And not to mention Big's fishing areas are also a thing, which you can farm easily and get more collectibles that way. So no, not a collectathon.
Now, this could work. After all, Unleashed and Generations were collectathons, and those games are highly regarded as great games.
Wait, what? Generations isn't even a collectathon! In Generations, here's the freaking gameplay loop. You play stages, you find keys to the boss gates after completing all 3 stages, and you play one challenge to get the key for every zone. You play a minimum of 9 challenges throughout the game, which is an extension of stages, not exactly like some tedious puzzle thing you have to do. So, no, you dumb idiots, it is not a collectathon. Unleashed is a collectathon. Collecting medallions is an Unleashed that stops you at every gate is a collectathon. Am I crazy now, or is it just me?
In fact, I quite enjoy Generations, both on 3DS and on console. However, this just doesn't work with Frontiers. The issue with Frontiers is that now it's an open world. There's no linear path to find stuff in. You just have to run around, hoping to find things, being told you're not ready for things, which is a great way to make a game, and, most of all, being bored.
That is literally the whole point of an open world. To explore it, to find collectibles, to progress, or upgrade yourself. Most open worlds do this. If they let you progress without any locks, then there's no reason to explore, and there's no exact challenge for later on.
Eventually, I circled upon this old guy talking about how his people got separated, and he needs you to lead them back to him. This leads to the second thing about Frontiers and why Sonic is so slow. You have to upgrade your speed to become faster. You have to upgrade your defense, your strength, even how many rings you can carry. You know, because Sonic all of a sudden has a capacity on how many rings he can carry when he can just shove Chaos Emeralds into the side of his leg like a pocket.
Those upgrades are there for progression, which you need to find cocoa and seeds for. Again, what's the point of an open world if it doesn't have things for you to collect first? Yes, I agree locking speed and ring caps to upgrade paywall is a little dumb in the universe, but that's called progressing your strength throughout the game to face bigger threats later on. Like, if the game didn't have any upgrades throughout the game, then fighting the later bosses would be stupidly easy. Having upgrades rewards players for exploring.
And after all this and even more grinding, we get treated to a minigame where we have to push these stupid rock babies to their mother while avoiding bombs. $60, ladies and gentlemen. 60 whole dollars. 70 if you bought the deluxe edition.
Yeah, $6 is right. This game is filled to the brim with content. Something you wouldn't know if you made it past the first island. Remember this for later.
It's at this point I should say I really dislike the voice lines in this game. Everyone sounds horribly off. Sonic just doesn't feel right, which is fitting because this game doesn't feel right.
Most of Cass's voice are literally the same. Sonic has a deeper tone, yeah, but it's not off in any way. It's still Sonic.
After this, I spent a while running around, trying to find more hearts, trying to get more keys, trying to find stuff, when I sat back in my chair and realized something. This game isn't fun. It's boring. A Sonic game is supposed to be fun. A Sonic game is supposed to be fast.
Then it sounds like this game isn't for you, and you shouldn't be reviewing the game as if it's an issue. As the majority of people who played this game said it was really fun without having to rely on YouTubers feeding them information for this, especially on the last few islands where the difficulty really ramps up. Remember this for later.
And yet this game is none of them. It's not fun, it's just running around collecting things, just doing the same patterns over and over again, with the hopes that maybe you'll do it differently? I wonder if there's a Sonic game that is fun, has an alright plot, is easy, and you will instantly want to play more of, and ultimately doesn't cost $60. Nah, I must be dreaming, that surely wouldn't happen.
Mania was a side game, you stupid mother! Okay. So, this guy is comparing Mania to Frontiers, even though in Mania, the story ever has going on is the Egg Heavies found Phantom Ruby, and Eggman is tied to it, and so Sonic and friends must find Eggman to stop evil plot. That is as complicated as the story gets. In Frontiers, Sonic and friends are literally transported to a mysterious island of unknown origin, meanwhile facing a little child who also has an unknown origin. So basically, Sonic has to unravel the mysteries of the island while trying to free his friends, especially while Eggman's trapped in cyberspace, and Sage is trying to figure out a way out. I'm pretty sure Frontiers has more going on than Mania ever will. This is a joke. I can't believe this.
But yeah, that is where I called it quits.
Okay, you know what? This is what you need to remember for later. This doofus reviewed a game he didn't even complete first. He didn't even get to the first boss fight at all. This is embarrassing. I'm sorry you think a game sucks because you're still in the tutorial island and you can't beat it. Get out of here with your garbage.
Sonic Frontiers, at its core, is an unfun, ugly, tedious, grindy game that takes itself way too seriously for a Sonic game.
You are dumb. Actually, you have 1 brain cell. No, scratch that. 0 brain cells. It does not take itself too seriously. The voice acting and script is realistic to Sonic's character and how someone would react to a beating against a Titan. Just name one example. Would you rather have the brainless script of Forces or the cringy jokes of Lost World? Frontiers isn't Generations, and it never will be. It is not the main gameplay style of the game. Generations' game style wouldn't work with Frontiers, because Frontiers is open world, and Generations, freaking isn't. And Generations wasn't, not the engine for the game. I get you want the timing-based reactions of Generations, but Frontiers isn't that, and you have no room to call it bad just because you're biased towards different gameplay styles. Oh my lord, have mercy.
People have become so desperate for a Sonic game that even resembles something better than Forces, which is the only compliment I can give this game, that they are willing to accept this. They're willing to eat this up and say, this is the greatest game of the year, because they're just so desperate. And that's the issue with this whole thing. People accept this because at least it's not Forces might. Sonic Team has not made a good Sonic game in over 10 years, and this is laughable. Imagine if Nintendo did this over and over again. If Mario Odyssey was a half-baked disaster. If Super Mario Galaxy was just a buggy mess. If Mario Kart 8 just was a boring, grindy game. But instead, Mario Odyssey is an award-winning masterpiece. Mario Galaxy is an insanely cool game. And Mario Kart is fun. It's an incredible party game. Sonic Frontiers is none of that.
It is none of that because Sonic isn't Mario. Mario and Sonic have drastically different game styles than one another.
So yeah, that's my review of Sonic Frontiers.
Okay, so the video's done now, but there's a whole comment section of people saying how he's bad at the game for dying to Ashura, and him trying to convince everyone that he's right. It's one thing to do a horrible review, but it's another to take your own opinion as a fact and try to affect others with your idiotic opinions, especially when your video has more freaking dislikes than likes. I'm pretty sure you should take that as a warning. Okay, if I take away from all this video, I'd say this guy obviously is trolling a little bit, but I cannot tell because he sounds like he's being serious, but there's no way somebody would just, record all this and play the game. It's just like, yeah, this is good. Like, I know he's just starting out YouTube and all, and he's like, he can't be this dumb, right? He cannot be this dumb. He's trying to argue that Frontiers is bad because A, the graphics doesn't have RTX, B, it's not Generations, and C, because he sucks at the game and can't really fight Ashura the boss fight, which you can actually just skip if you don't think you can handle it right now, and so you can level up a few times to fight it on. I'm sorry. That is A-level stupidity right